All right, we are live. Let me know if you guys could hear me. And we're doing it when it's still light outside. This is good. Usually I'm like at midnight. It's 6, so we're getting better. Closer to our 3 p.m. goal. Shout out some of the chat first. And then we do kind of have a fairly long show. I mean 20 slides. And my shit always goes kind of long. Tank It 370 says, Yahoo, I made it. Sir Alert says Iran sent to mothership. Yeah. Wow, a decent stream starting time for these coasters. Yeah, Fragile 00. Yup, we did it. John Lao Humans, go, go, go. I'm an extraterrestrial. Oh, damn. Dead fish cheese spread. Yes, they're here. Diddly Squat says, don't be getting hungry, RBK. A little bit. John Laumans, we're doing it live. Heck yeah. We need proof of life for RPK. Oh, I know. I was already a little late. Evening Gent says LJ for all. RBK, did you see Luna on Bill Maher last night? I did. I would play it, but we're not allowed to play it. I think he's pretty strict with claiming stuff. She is. Yep. I'm thinking about everything when I see her. Everything instead of. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Hello Panda. Katie Simpson's here. That was RMRZ who said hello Panda. Flatline. Love the hat. Thank you. It's part of my gimmick. Jeffrey says yippee. Stevie M says the drones never left, and that actually is true. I do agree with that. A lot of people, even in New Jersey, are like, dude, this shit's been going on since December 2024. But there was some bigger stories like recently that they're back in the zeitgeist. Maybe would be a better way to say it. Salute to all the extraterrestrials in the chat. Says Couples Light. Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. Says Random Content. Mark says sweet. Let's go red. Daisy Tube says Suede. Where's Sensei Corbell? Bow to your sensei. Anything is better than the X Circle jerk. Says what the fuck News Global. E. Jerry says I'm on so much fentanyl. Stay safe, brother. Cyber says hello, party people. JL Optin says hello, and Travis Bigot says bow to your sensei. All right, so let's get into it. What should I ask Lou? I'm going to see him soon. Ask him on camera. Actually, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know what to do there. Whatever your heart wants you to do. But I would want to know why he's covering up for Mike Disclosure and his psycho murder plot against me and Tupa. But I feel like he probably would be like, what? What are you talking about? So should I turn on the light now or turn on the light later? Maybe now. All right, we're going to get into it. And actually, I have a new background song too, so it's not always just like upbeat vibes. I got the ones, and if you watch my documentaries, I like this backing track a lot. The spooky dolphin noise. So, all right. So our first story, the mystery drones are back. Now, a lot of people say they never left. Actually, a lot of residents in New Jersey, but they're back in the zeitgeist. We have two big stories. They were caught flying over the military Air Force base in Washington, D.C., where Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, and Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, live. And then also there was another story, a separate story, this is both this week, where mystery drones reported over a Louisiana Air Force base that houses our nuclear Air Force capabilities, some of them in our B-52 squadron that deploys some of those nukes, should they ever be used. And I don't know, are they China? Are they aliens? Are they Palantir trying to get money? Let's see. So this is the first story.
Mystery drones over a major U.S. military base in Louisiana. Waves of high-tech drones flying over the highly sensitive area. That base housing B-52. The mystery drones over a major U.S. military base in Louisiana. Waves of high-tech drones flying over the highly sensitive area. That base housing B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command.
Tonight, law enforcement officials are warning of a significant threat to public safety and national security after swarms of high-tech drones invaded the airspace over one of the nation's most strategic military installations for nearly a week. A confidential briefing document reviewed by ABC News said earlier this month...
Nearly a week. Now, tell me this language doesn't remind you of the New Jersey drone wave.
Multiple waves of 12 to 15 drones flew for hours at a time over sensitive areas of Barksdale Air Force Base near Shreveport, Louisiana, home of B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command.
And the Air Force was not able to do anything to stop them.
The drones operated in loose formations, then dispersed across sensitive locations on the base, and they're unlike anything available off the shelf. The document said these drones have a much longer range and are resistant to jamming.
The sophistication we see in both how the drones were employed and the kinds of drones don't point to some hobbyist. They point...
You guys catch that? They were resistant to jamming over our nuclear base in Louisiana?
Anything to stop them.
The drones operated in loose formations, then dispersed across
and also the Air Force can't do anything to stop
areas of Barksdale Air Force Base near Shreveport, Louisiana, home of B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command.
And the Air Force was not able to do anything to stop them.
The drones operated in loose formations, then dispersed across sensitive locations on the base, and they're unlike anything available off the shelf. The document said these drones have a much longer range and are resistant to jamming.
The sophistication we see in both how the drones were employed and the kinds of drones don't point to some hobbyist. They point to a state actor.
Barksdale Air Force Base, ABC News. It is investigating multiple unauthorized drones operating in our airspace during the week of March 9th, not long after the start of the war with Iran.
The analysis we reviewed, David, said these still unexplained incursions are expected to continue, and law enforcement officials, David, have long expressed concerns about the country's ability to defend itself from drones.
Interesting. Isn't this reminding you guys of the fucking New Jersey drone wave? I'm clipping up still a bunch of stuff live. We're doing it so live right now. But does it remind you guys of this too? Remember this? This was the head of NORAD.
We're the most
talking about how we can't control the drones above our own bases.
Powerful military.
This is in reference to the 2024 New Jersey drone wave.
On the face of the earth. And yet drones could fly over a major Air Force base and we couldn't stop them. How is that possible?
Well, I think the threat got ahead of our ability to detect and
totally
track
normal.
the threat. I think all eyes were.
You guys realize how fucked we are if that's China? You better hope it's aliens and not China, dude. I saw some comments saying that, like, if it ever gets hot with China, we're basically going to have Pearl Harbor all over again. They have all this farmland around different military bases, and they could just take out, like, so much shit on day one. Better hope it's not China, bro.
Were rightfully overseas, where UAVs were being used in one-way attack to attack U.S. and coalition service members. And the threat in the U.S. probably caught us by surprise a little bit.
A year ago, General Gregory Guillot, a combat veteran, took control of NORAD and NORTHCOM. He ordered a 90-day assessment of operations and says the drones or UAVs at Langley became the center.
So look, listen to that beginning part again and tell me it's not a flash.
We're the most powerful military on the face of the earth. And yet drones could fly over a major Air Force base and we couldn't stop them. How is that possible?
Well, I think the threat got ahead of our ability to detect and track the threat. I think all eyes were rightfully overseas, where UAVs were being used in one-way attack to attack U.S. and coalition.
We couldn't, over the military bases, we couldn't do that.
The mystery drones over a...
15 drones flew for hours at a time over sensitive areas of Barksdale Air Force Base near Shreveport, Louisiana, home of B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command.
And the Air Force was not able to do anything to stop them.
The drones operated in loose formations, then dispersed across sensitive locations on the base, and they're unlike anything available off the shelf. The document said these drones have a much longer range and are resistant to jamming.
The sophistication we see in both how the drones were employed and the kinds of drones don't point to some hobbyist. They point to a state actor.
Barksdale Air Force Base, ABC News. It is investigating multiple unauthorized drones operating in our airspace during the week of March 9th, not long after the start of the war with Iran.
Somebody asked for a map of it. Here is it on Google Maps. So this is Louisiana. It's in Shreveport, this base right here. So just, you know, a little bit of the map. And let's go back in time again to the drone wave, you know, of 2024.
These are not U.S. military drones.
Nice, super epic intro
again,
that I
this
made.
is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's the one who he had to resign. I shouldn't be laughing actually, but because his aide, like he had sex with his aide and then she set herself on fire. That's him.
That's right. It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy.
You know, I have a friend in the UFO community who thinks it was all connected. That because he was so like, what the hell's going on with these drones? That they did some weirdo setup for him to ruin his career. Yeah.
That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
From the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water.
These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to.
One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times.
Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their home.
It's right here over Picatinny. There was a drone.
So yeah, super epic. Watch my documentary 2024. It's relevant again and again, and I'll cover this again later. But as they said in the report about this Barksdale Air Force Base incursions, happened a week after the war with Iran started, right? The New Jersey mystery drone wave here happened a week after. Actually, maybe I'll just do it live right now.
Today, are you aware of anything in the government?
This was mid-October 2024.
United States government arsenal that can
New Jersey
split a
drone wave
Hellfire
started
missile
in November
like this
2024.
and do whatever blob thing it did and then keep going. Nothing.
Nothing.
All right. How about?
And again, this happened when we were bombing U.S. bombers target underground Houthi weapon sites in Yemen. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said B-2 Spirit stealth bombers were part of the operation that targeted hardened underground facilities housing missiles and other munitions that Iran-backed group had used. So this correlation, and it could be Chinese drones, but this correlation of like tensions with Iran in the Middle East and mystery drones seems to be reoccurring.
Are you?
Let's go back here now.
B-52 bomber.
I thought this would be interesting to watch. This is just like a little old. This is a 14-year-old video about the base where this latest incursion was, Barksdale Air Force Base, and it talks about. I haven't watched it yet. We're going to watch it together live, but I guess it talks about the nuclear capabilities of this base. And again, running theme you see, right? UFOs and nukes.
Since the B-52's introduction here in 1958, the base has housed one of the largest fleets of this aircraft in the U.S. military.
You know that when a B-52 enters a conflict, that the decision makers, America's leadership, they're serious. And it just got serious if the B-52 entered the conflict, because B-52 says massive air power.
And you know what, just to zoom out again, let's just watch a little part of that so it's fresh again of the...
The mystery drones over a major U.S. military base in Louisiana. Waves of high-tech drones flying over the highly sensitive area. That base housing B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command.
Tonight, law enforcement officials are warning of a significant threat to public safety and national security after swarms of high-tech drones invaded the airspace over one of the nation's most strategic military installations for nearly a week. A confidential briefing document reviewed by ABC News said earlier this month, multiple waves of 12 to 15 drones flew for hours at a time over sensitive areas of Barksdale Air Force Base near Shreveport, Louisiana, home of B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command.
And the Air Force was not able to do anything to stop them.
The drones operated in loose formations, then dispersed across sensitive locations on the base, and they're unlike anything available off the shelf. The document said these drones have a much longer range and are resistant to jamming.
Resistant to jamming, the Air Force couldn't do anything about them. So just keep this in mind.
These are not B-52 bomber.
About the same Air Force Base, Barksdale, and as they're all talking about, oh, dude, if the B-52s are in the air, you better run. Like, America's got it. Just keeping in mind that, like, we couldn't do anything about these mystery drones over, I think it was like 7 days, multiple waves. Couldn't do anything about it.
Since the B-52's introduction here in 1958, the base has housed one of the largest fleets of this aircraft in the U.S. military.
you know that when a B-52 enters a conflict, that the decision makers, America's leadership, they're serious. And it just got serious if the B-52 entered the conflict, because B-52 says massive air power.
It was the first nuclear bomber, and it was designed basically during the Cold War era, and it was to project global power and long-range strike to our enemies during that era. Now, that has graduated over the years, and this weapon system has also been modernized and upgraded over the years to continue with the fights that currently meet us today.
Well, this is the B-52H, both conventional and nuclear bomber. It's got a wingspan of 185 feet. Maximum gross weight of this jet is 488,000 pounds, fully loaded. So that's with weapons and fuel. We carry up to 10 different munitions on this particular jet, ranging from unguided weapons, so gravity weapons, they just free fall out of the bomb bay, to guided weapons. So that's your GPS, guided weapons, JDAM, and we also carry air-launched cruise missiles. So a whole bunch of modern weaponry goes on this jet. 8 engines. Each engine is capable of producing approximately 17,000 pounds of thrust apiece. It's kind of an abnormal design. Most aircraft don't have the engines hanging off like this, as you see. It affects a little bit the flying characteristics of the jet in terms of when you push the power up, the jet's gonna have a tendency to raise its nose.
Oh, that's a good point. Zane77 says, remember just last week they had to shut down the airspace because we were using lasers to shut down, what was it, the Department of Defense? The claim was the Department of Defense was using lasers to shoot down Border Patrol drones or something like that. And now all of a sudden, amidst a war, this like super sensitive military site we can't do anything about. Oh.
This is the bomb bay. 488,000 pound gross weight. So as we add weapons, it reduces the amount of fuel we can carry. We can carry up to approximately 50,000 pounds of weapons inside the bomb bay here. These are the bomb racks. So this is where the weapons actually attach. Typically in this configuration, we're carrying gravity weapons, but we can carry, depending on the weapon, 27 internal gravity weapons. And if the nuclear mission is required, or conventional mission, we have the conventional air-launched cruise missiles, or the nuclear cruise missiles. We'll take these cluster racks out and we'll put in what's called a CSRL. It's a rotary launcher, and it attaches to the missiles themselves, and it's kind of like a 6-shooter. Rotate, drop one out, and missile away. The fuel's loaded pretty much everywhere you don't see a bomb bay. I mean, this jet is designed for heavy metal.
Our favorite counter intel agent, former on Jolly, says this: U.S. knows what the drones are, whose they are, but they will only tell us if it will drum up political support of something we probably want nothing to do with. Good point.
Weapons and fuel, and that's all there is to it. So this is the bomb bay, and you'll see above you labeled fuel tanks. So pretty much everywhere. The wings, it's called an.
Now I found this interesting too while looking up everything. There was this weird incident, and I want to say this was also like 14 years ago, where nuclear warheads went missing, if I'm not mistaken, from a flight from one of these B-52s from like Ohio to Barksdale Air Force Base in, what is it, Shreveport or whatever, Louisiana. Let's just watch it, and maybe I set it up wrong, but I just found it interesting that it was the same base. This is during the Obama administration.
But what we do know, it was last Thursday, a B-52 bomber loaded 6 air-launched cruise missiles under its wings, took off from Minot, North Dakota, flew the length of the United States to Barksdale, Louisiana. Those missiles were supposed to be decommissioned. There was just one little problem. When they landed in Louisiana,
I guess August 2007, so this was still Bush.
They found that those missiles that were supposed to be basically decommissioned and taken out of service, each of them had a nuclear warhead on them. 6 nuclear warheads flying the length of the United States, and no one seemed to know it. to say the least. A major investigation is underway now. The Air Force officer in charge of the squadron loading the munitions relieved of duty. They took an immediate inventory of all Air Force nuclear weapons to make sure they had everything. They say the public was never in any danger. The weapons were not armed, that there would have been no nuclear detonation if in some fashion the missiles had basically fallen off the wings of the airplane. But really, small comfort to most of the military and to many Americans, perhaps. This sort of thing is not supposed to happen. Nuclear weapons are the most guarded, the most secure item, supposedly, in the U.S. military arsenal. One military official telling us today, this is unprecedented. Nobody remembers another instance like this.
So yeah, really weird that happened. And actually, Germany and New Jersey was happening at the same time too. And actually, you know what? Let's do this too. We're doing it live. There was another. They did shut down just recently too, and I was going to cover this, but there's so much UFO news happening all the time now. It's kind of hard to. What is it? It's Brandenburg Airport. So I'm doing it live. Sorry, guys. Brandenburg. Yeah, here we go. So this is March 14th. This is only about a week ago. What's 14th? Oh yeah, 1 week ago today. Luminous flying object spotted. Operation at Berlin Brandenburg Airport suspended for 30 minutes. So they shut down the entire airport in Germany because mystery drones again. Isn't it interesting how this is all happening again? It's like a dance again. We're doing it all over again. We got attacking Iran in the Middle East. We got mystery drones in America. We got mystery drones in Germany again. It's like, it's literally just, it feels like that one meme of Marty McFly. Like, I've seen this one before. Oh, shout out our lovely mod, Stoned Apes here. Shout out everyone else who's been here too. Thank you guys all for being here. So we're continuing back to the coverage here.
Today, new security.
Separate of, so this week we learned about two separate new drone incursions. Separate of the one that we just covered about Louisiana, Shreveport, Barksfield Air Force Base, where some of our nuclear capabilities are housed, that we couldn't stop. We also had this one where mystery drones were reported above a very sensitive Air Force base in Washington, D.C., right? This is not good. And not only in Washington, D.C., this is where Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, and Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, live. And they were unable to identify them. Let's watch this.
Security concerns after multiple drones were reportedly detected above a Washington Army base that houses some of the Pentagon's most senior officials. 3 people briefed on the situation tell the Washington Post it happened over Fort McNair. That's also home to Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. It's unclear where the drones came from, and the Pentagon declined to discuss the Post's report. Let's bring in one of the reporters on that story, Isaac Arnsdorf. Here in studio, MS Now senior national security reporter David Rhodes. So, Isaac, what more can you tell us about these drones?
Well, importantly, the administration has not determined what they are, where they came from, or what threat they posed. But obviously, they were detected because of this higher threat environment, this elevated state of alert that the military has on because of the war in Iran. And very concerningly, they look similar to drones that appeared around other U.S. officials in the past who Iran has wanted to kill in retaliation for a previous strike against Iran that killed one of their generals in 2020. So for people who remember the 2024 Trump campaign and some of the threats to former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, Iran has this track record of wanting to assassinate U.S. officials who they hold responsible.
So, David, how concerned are American officials right now about potential Iranian retaliation here in the U.S.?
There are concerns because Joe Kent, who's the head of the National Counterterrorism Center, just resigned. That post is empty. And it's a variety of things. It could be these drones. And Isaac's right. It was a great story. There's so little regulation or understanding of the drones that are in the air in this country. There was all those things in New Jersey about a year ago, but it's not clear. Other threats would be more of a homegrown attack. The terrible attack on the synagogue, the children, the attempt in Michigan that happened last week. There was also the incident in Virginia where one person was killed by someone who had previously been convicted of supporting ISIS. So that's the sort of lone wolf thing where someone's inspired to take action. There's less concerns about a cell, some kind of organized group in the United States that's going to carry out an attack So it's a wide variety of things, but they are on the lookout and are very concerned about what could happen.
And Isaac, Fort McNair is very close to both Capitol Hill and the White House, but you note that it doesn't have the same safety buffer as other bases. What are you hearing about potential efforts to boost security there now?
So we were told that there were increased security measures put into place after these drone sightings. There was a meeting at the White House about other possible responses. There was a discussion about whether the secretaries who are living there need to move, and they decided not to.
So, David, in the last hour, President Trump also...
Yeah, so what do you guys think? I see people saying Chinese, like best case scenario, it's our own tech. It's Palantir, it's Anduril doing a dry run or something. I think aliens is better than it being Chinese. If it's adversary tech and we can't do anything about it, we're done. Aliens, at least it's like maybe they're good, maybe they're not, maybe they're gonna shut down. Justy says China. Couples Life says Anduril. Yeah, if it's China, we're fucked. We are fucked. Let's go ahead and continue along here. What do we got next? Oh, actually, I think because I thought doesn't this one have a map or no? I got this one. I thought there was a map. Maybe there was another one I saw. Oh yeah, there was the map. Oh shoot. Okay.
Offer as other
in the United States, it's going to carry out an attack. So it's a wide variety of things, but they are on the lookout and are very concerned about what could happen.
And Isaac, Fort McNair is very close to both Capitol Hill and the White House, but you note that it doesn't have the same safety buffer.
So look at Fort McNair base. So this is where the drones were. So aside from our Louisiana base, where B-52s and nuclear capabilities are, right in the heart of Washington, D.C., right next to Pentagon, right next to the Capitol, right next to the White House, the State Department, basically the Air Force base that defends this whole region and houses the Secretary of State and Secretary of War, unable to do anything about. Again, let's read some more. Let's see. Oh, Anjali says 211 watching. Hit that like button. Show RPK some love. Yes, show me some love. Let me see. Whistling Mike says China. Flatline says aliens. Who else we got? Yeah, so there's a lot of guesses around here. Let's go ahead and continue along.
Are you aware of anything?
Like I said, and I already kind of played it again, but we'll just do it again because we're running in patterns. This is where this is all happening now, post-Iran war kicking off. This UFO splitting a Hellfire missile that we all remember,
and the government,
was 2 weeks before the New Jersey drone wave occurred in 2024. This is October of 2024 that this video is from.
United States government arsenal
UFO
that
splitting
can split a Hellfire missile like this.
No.
And do whatever blob thing it did and then keep going? Nothing?
Nothing.
All right, how about you, Chief Wiggins?
Nothing to my knowledge, ma'am.
Okay, and how about you, Mr. Borland?
I prefer to answer that in a skiff.
And again, here's the video again. I'll just read it again since we're here. U.S. bombers target underground Houthi weapon sites in Yemen. Defense Secretary, October 17th, 2024. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said B-2 Spirit stealth bombers were part of an operation that targeted hardened underground facilities housing missiles and other munitions that the Iran-backed group had used. I heard it was advanced tech laboratories also in some of the other news reports at the time. And again, 2 weeks later, we had the New Jersey drone wave. Is it going to let me play? It's not going to let me play.
I'm going to tell you the real deal.
Okay, I'll play this too. Amidst the whole thing, we had, and every time it's kind of a recurring thing, we had members of Congress saying that it was Iranian drones with Chinese tech. And even at the time, Rep. Luna was kind of, this is right around the time that Congressman Jeff Andrew went on and said what he's about to say about these are from Iran. She tweeted out, the fact that the Pentagon is trying to gaslight Americans and undermine Congressman Jeff Andrews' credibility is no surprise. Look at how they handled the Chinese spy balloon. So almost saying like, this dude is credible. He's not just some kook.
I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off. I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers...
And again, to be clear, this is from 2024, December. This isn't new.
...are digesting
relevant
this.
Still.
Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home, also in the same county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen. That capability exists. It's possible some of those drones are here. So I have two questions. How are they fueling them? They have to land somewhere. Drones don't fly forever. Why don't they close down the airspace? Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's the holidays. Shut it down. But if you start shooting things and you don't know how they're fueled, that's going to be mass explosions. This isn't like one spy balloon. Congressman, this is serious.
We've got to bring them down, and we've got to find a way to bring them down. I don't know exactly where they're landing. Obviously, I have some information. And again, this isn't just Jeff Van Drew. Oh, let's get on Harris Faulkner's show and say something outrageous. I'm telling you a straight deal from very high positioned individuals who are telling me this. And the bottom line is they're launching them. They are across the country. We don't even have anything like this.
No.
Our government and also certainly our hobbyists don't. So think about it. It's not only do I have the information, but it's also common sense. We've got to get them down. We've got to determine how they function, what they do, make sure that we can get them. And you're right, in a safe way. When I say shoot them down, get them down any way that you can. But right now they're probably extracting information. This is a clear and present danger to the United States and to our president-elect. And it's a serious business.
Well, and if one of them happens to fall and they're fueled, that explosion could kill people.
Yep. I'm trying to find, someone did say, and maybe we should watch it though, where the Pentagon spokeswoman came out and said that he was incorrect. Let me see if I could find it. I'm trying to find it live. If not, I'll have to come back to it. Can I do it? Okay, yes. Although, oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna have to do it live. Sorry guys, we're doing it live. Boom, 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 boom. Because yeah, it is good to report that the Pentagon said that dude was wrong, but I got the ghetto version. Boom, 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 doing it live, doing everything live. We're living live. We're live. We're live. Okay, here we go. Oh, of course, I forgot. It takes a while to load it up. But yeah, great moment to remind everyone, like the stream. We are monetized. If you want to throw in a super chat, I'm giving you some good coverage here. Here we go. This is the response from the Pentagon, like within hours of him going on the news and saying that.
A Republican from New Jersey was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States. No.
There you go. So there's that. And the last thing, too, I saw people talking about this. Might as well bring it up to Matthew Livelsberger, who I personally don't think killed himself. I think he was murdered. But here was his manifesto where he says that the drones were Chinese. So, we're just putting everything out there. We're thinking about it all because we got these two fresh stories of drone incursions again over sensitive sites amidst a war, which is kind of concerning, right?
This email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPCEN, that's Operations Center, our OPCEN location for this activity is in the box below. China.
By the way, the box below was coordinates to S4 where Bob Lazar worked, you know. So it was like very like, whoa. Yeah, China's using anti-gravitic propulsion to do this.
Has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they use the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed.
So there you go. You know, rest in peace, Matthew Livelsberger. Yeah, we're going to continue along now. That's it for the drone coverage
General
of today.
McCaslin's
We have this now. Rep. Tim Burchett was asked about the missing general, General Neil McCaslin, associated with UFO programs via the WikiLeaks emails, conversations between John Podesta, then Chief of Staff of Hillary Clinton, likely to be her campaign manager, likely to be her Chief of Staff, and Tom DeLonge saying that McCaslin worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which he did, but that he was in charge of UFO stuff there and the Roswell material. Let's watch this from Rep. Burchett.
Appearance. What do you make of it?
Well, it's suspect, of course. I know a lot of folks are pointing at the UFO things because him being at Wright-Patterson over some top secret stuff is involved in some of the nuclear stuff too. I know his wife said he didn't have anything to do with any UFO research, but generally those folks don't talk about it when they do that. They're at a pretty high level of security. I was even told a few weeks back that the president was on a need-to-know basis. So I think that'll alarm a lot of people, but I just hope they find him. I don't know. He left. He took his .38 with a holster in it, and I think his wallet. It just seems to me very odd that what was going on. He also, I believe they found a U.S. Air Force shirt out near the house, or I'm not sure. I heard conflicting reports that it was his or it wasn't his, but you know, when you're trying to disappear, you're going to change your appearance. You're going to take off what you got and put something else on. So nobody really knows.
So what you're saying is either maybe he was taken or that he went of his own volition and just wanted to get off the grid?
Possibly. I've talked to a lot of those folks that are a little bit afraid of, being whistleblowers and things like that. Not that he was a whistleblower, but he was involved with I believe with the fellow from Blink 182, the rock band that he spent a lot of time researching the UFO UAP issue with a lot of the folks that I know. So, it's all suspect. And the fact the FBI got involved with it.
How dare you do Blink 182 dirty like that, the rock band?
Is something I think that bears mentioning.
Jason Souza says maybe he got 411. That's what I personally think happened. I think he got missing 411.
There's obviously some seriousness there. They think there's some sort of federal tie-in there.
And again, what a weird time to be alive. Like, we have drone incursions, we have Iran war, we have a UFO general going missing. It's like, the UFO stuff isn't all just fun, campy stuff, guys. It's very serious.
Is there anything that you in your capacity as a congressman can do regarding this?
We can push for disclosure. We've been pushing for it, but as of yet, the federal government does not trust the American people with.
All right, let's see.
Is there anything that you in your capacity as a congressman can do regarding this?
We can push for disclosure. We've been pushing for it, but as of yet, the federal government does not trust the American people with what they have.
And so if something is awry, you think it would be related to the UFO issue?
I think it'd be related to that or a nuclear issue. I think his wife said that he did not suffer from Alzheimer's or anything like that. So there's a question there, of course.
Great.
Yep, and the scientist, like Resolute Decide says, was connected to, or the general was connected to a scientist that went missing a year before under strange circumstances that we did cover on the channel a few days ago. Go back and watch that. Buddy James says, none of this is a coincidence. PJN says, tactical nuke dropping soon. All right, and I brought up the email again just since we're here. This is the Podesta email from Tom DeLonge about McCaslin. This is about General McCaslin. He mentioned he's a skeptic. He's not. I've been working with him for 4 months. I just got done giving him a 4-hour presentation on the entire project a few weeks ago. Trust me, the advice has already been happening on how to do all this stuff. He just has to say that out loud. But he is very aware, very aware. He was in charge of all the stuff when Roswell crashed. They shipped it to the laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. General McCaslin was in charge of that exact laboratory up to a couple of years ago. He not only knows what I'm trying to achieve, he helped assemble my advisory team. He's a very important man. And to remind you, the advisory team at the time included Steve Justice, the head of Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, Hal Puthoff, probably Scientologist, definitely was at one point in time, but ran the the remote viewing program for the CIA. Lou Elizondo, friend of the show, allegedly ran ATIP. Gary Nolan, like that whole network, all the people that are pushing for UFO disclosure, allegedly were helped connect by that general. So, and then I thought I would play this again too. Here's Rep Eric Burleson, now not Burchett, Burleson, talking about how Grusch tried to meet with the general and how he finds it odd too. So let's see.
McCaslin definitely is connected to the UAP topic, and I know that he is someone that we have been wanting to try to talk to. I know Grusch has attempted to communicate with him. And he's been actually, I'm surprised that anything is happening or that has something that has happened to him, given the fact that he has been pretty difficult to communicate on. Every time that anybody's reached out to him, he said that he has nothing to say on the topic. So maybe I don't know, but we believe that he has a lot to say about this topic.
Just seems like a pants on fire moment for a guy like him, whether there's UFO involvement or not. For him to just vanish, possibly abducted by foreign interests or others, that's a huge moment. Now, the story's kind of picking up steam in mainstream media finally, but geez, it seems like it should be front and center.
So there you go. Shout out Weaponized. All right.
Did you ever see any...
Our next story... So this is Joe Kent, who actually, wait, what was Joe Kent's position? Let me make sure I get it right. Joe Kent position. He was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Okay, so here we go. Get it all set up again. So this is Joe Kent, who just resigned from from his role as the director of the National Counterterrorism Center in protest of the Trump administration's war in Iran. Right, and he's basically been making the rounds lately, but he did have something interesting to say about UFOs and Skywatcher on Breaking Point's Sagar Anjeti, I believe is how you say his last name. Let's go ahead and watch this.
Did you ever see any evidence of extraterrestrial life while you were in government?
I did not. No, I was mostly in the Middle East. I didn't. I've got some friends who were pretty involved in looking for those types of things.
Okay.
I'm
share anything?
Yeah, no, I heard a good deal. I think it's called the Skywatcher project. There's a good deal online. I know one of the guys who was involved in that, not in like the ESP stuff, but in actually being able to signal them through signals. Very credible guy, and so what he found and what he's talked about, I think is worth taking a look at. But I was a terrorism guy, and so I didn't run across any aliens and terrorism.
Well, you never know. There are several orbs. There are a lot of orbs that appeared in battlefields in Syria and Mosul. I'll send you
for sure. No, 100%. I've seen the footage. 100%. I just
Okay.
never saw it.
It is really crazy where we are as a society today. Like everyone, it's kind of just everyone just kind of like, yeah, they're UFOs. You know, no one really knows what they are, but they are there. Let's watch back again the part where he says about Skywatcher.
Okay. Can you share anything?
Yeah, no, I heard a good deal. I think it's called the Skywatcher project. There's a good deal online. I know one of the guys who was involved in that, not in like the ESP stuff, but in actually being able to signal them through signals. Very credible guy, and so what he found and what he's talked about, I think is worth taking a look.
So yeah, let's revisit what was Skywatcher again. There's this little video. This is what they were doing.
In August of 2024, Jake and the Skywatcher team conducted their own operation with a psionic acid to see if they could summon a UAP themselves.
Look, there's two. Look at this. Look right here. Look at this one going down and this one going up.
This footage from another Skywatcher operation showing the team's protocols. The team hoped to quietly gather evidence for Skywatcher, but instead found themselves in danger once more. And Jake says a UAP dogfight erupted in the sky above them. He believes the craft summoned by the team was warring with a rogue UAP piloted by an unknown entity attempting to intercept Skywatcher's operation.
Tell me what happened. So we set out to do this operation. Right away when the psionic asset went into meditation, he is reporting that he is engaged and in fact piloting a craft and is bringing it in.
So he's actually telepathically controlling alien technology.
Yes. Yes. As crazy as that sounds, that's exactly what we set out to do, what he reported we would do. And then things got a little weird. Right about I'd say 4 or 5 minutes into the operation, he goes, something's going on, something's wrong, get me out of here. And right about that time, our Overwatch Fred looked up to the sky and saw a disc, a classic lenticular.
So that was kind of more the psionic angle, and we'll play it again. Joe Kent said he talked about the non-psionic angle, which we do have covered. But
Did you ever see any evidence of extraterrestrial life while you were in government?
I did not. No, I was mostly in the Middle East. I didn't. I've got some friends who were pretty involved in looking for those types of things.
Okay. Can you share anything?
Yeah, no, I heard a good deal. I think it's called the Skywatcher project. There's a good deal online. I know one of the guys who was involved in that, not in like the ESP stuff, but in actually being able to signal them through signals. Very credible guy, and so what he found and what he's talked about, I think is worth taking a look at. But I was a kind of.
Yeah, who is it? Inestella said, still waiting for episode 3. Yeah, we are waiting for episode 3 of the Skywatcher project. Who knows if it's ever going to happen. Here's Ross. Oh, wait, oops. Ross talking about it.
I don't think I'm giving anything away here.
Anything away?
I can tell you that
Jake Barber.
There is going to be a video coming out, I hope relatively soon, from our friends at Skywatcher. That's the Jake Barber, Alex Clokus privately funded group that are investigating UAP phenomena and trying to use psionic summoning and the dog whistle to bring UAP objects, craft close in so that they can be videoed, photographed and studied. They are doing a study on psionics. They've spoken publicly about this in their previous videos. I think they've done interviews where they've talked about the fact that they are going to be studying telepathy and psionics. And I'm really excited. I'm aware of some of the work that they've been doing, and I'm really excited. I'm told they are in the peer review process at the moment, and it's taking a lot longer than expected. I am assured there is no cover-up underway, that they are going to be fully open and transparent, and I'm looking forward at some stage to interviewing either Alex or Jake or somebody from Skywatcher about it. But they are tied up in a very rigorous peer review process that is part of their own internal vetting and checking procedures. But at some stage, very, very soon, quite exciting work that I'm aware of that they've been doing with telepathy.
It's kind of irrelevant, but a little relevant, but this is what we really want.
Began.
This is Fowler. Is it James Fowler? I believe it's James Fowler, who is the dog whistle guy, and who is it? Zane77 in the chat says, the dog whistle guy took a government contract, which is what I've kind of heard as well. But here he is talking about the dog whistle, which again is what Joe Kent was referencing, not the psychic stuff, but the technology. Actually, fuck it, we'll play it one more time.
Did you ever see any evidence of extraterrestrial life while you were in government?
I did not. No, I was mostly in the Middle East. I didn't. I've got some friends who were pretty involved in looking for those types of things.
Okay. Can you share anything?
Yeah, no, I heard a good deal. I think it's called the Skywatcher project. There's a good deal online. I know one of the guys who was involved in that, not in like the ESP stuff, but in actually being able to signal them through signals.
Yeah. Sarah Beacon says, Joe Kent made the point to say it wasn't part of the psychic part. Yeah, not through the gay left-handed kid part, through the dog whistle thing is basically what Joe Kent said there. So let's watch Fowler talk about the dog whistle.
So that began the development of the dog whistle. Now, the dog whistle started out as, as a baseline, we knew what we were doing in 21 when we had the observation. So in 22, we said, what can we do else to what we were doing already to enhance, right? So the dog whistle is comprised of radar. The radar provides us the ability to observe the UAP. frankly, for the first 3 years, we never saw them on radar. We had to change things. We had to make new load sets, bring on the right personnel, the rights.
Crazy that they were like working together in the back channels for like 3 years, but then like they come out publicly and it kind of all dissolves like within months. Very odd.
Scientists to make adjustments to our technology. In fact, for the first 2.5 years, we didn't think that they were visible on radar. So we used other tools like signals and direct observations with imaging equipment. So that's kind of how we grew to refine the dog whistle. Now today we refined it even further. We use some discrete signals in conjunction with our activities and tactics on the ground. And then the radar enables us to actually, now we see everything on radar. And every time we see a UAP, we see it on radar as well. So that really helps us because now we can make more astute observations and actually learn a lot. Fortunately and unfortunately, the process of running these events and using the dog whistle generates tremendous amounts of data. And the unfortunate part of that is that data is expensive. It's hard to look at the data. It's an onerous task. So part of our burden at Skywatcher has been, well, we've generated lots of data running these fun events. We ran 6 events in 2024 and 5. Between those events, we have a very large pool of data. And the task now is normalizing the data so that, you know, a scientist shouldn't have to be a data scientist, right? A scientist should be able to have the data curated for them to view it, analyze it, and conduct their analysis. And that's the challenge we have today is there's vast amounts of data. It has to go through that process to be curated so that it can be used internally to Skywatcher and beyond.
Excellent, thank you. Do you want to maybe provide an overview of some of the specific observations that you've seen out in the field?
Yeah, sure. Actually, just go to the, let's continue because we're going to get really into that in the next couple slides. So observations are increasing. When we first started making observations in 21, we saw one UAP or one fleet of UAPs. Yeah. But now, if you'd have told me in 2022, 23, even 24 that I would get sent videos from people on cell phones seeing the same things we're seeing, I wouldn't have believed you because we never saw a UAP with the naked eye until 2025 at Skywatcher. Until that point, we'd only observed them on radar and on cameras, high magnification, electro-optical, infrared cameras. So part of the reason why we never made observations with our own eyes.
Oh, shout out. Yes, Bob did just become a subscriber on X. I'm looking at it right now. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that, bro. I think I put it pretty low on X. And I'm also on Patreon and whatchamacallit. Also, shout out Fly Ether is here. Yeah, so I'm able to do a stream that wasn't at like midnight Pacific time. So
just because they were so far away. You know, a small object, a 2-3 meter object coming in 3 to 5 kilometers away is very hard to see. In fact, a lot of people that see UAPs don't actually observe the UAP. They observe reflections of the UAP. A lot of UAPs are very reflective. And so you'll see the sun glinting off of the surfaces of the UAPs as they fly.
So something interesting I heard about Skywatcher and the dog whistle in the back channels that I have no way of knowing if it's true or not. I did hear that he took a contract with the government, and then maybe that's why Skywatcher kind of dissolved for the dog whistle specifically. But I've also heard that Hal Puthoff was somehow connected with the patents behind the dog whistle, and it's named the dog whistle, right? So it's like the idea is it's like shooting out some kind of frequency that only can be heard, or it's mainly reacted to by the UFOs and not like, you know, humans. Who knows, right? Who the hell knows? Shout out Stone Ape too with a great comment. Don't forget to like the stream. Yes, like the stream, guys. We're having fun. We're doing it live. Liked and sub on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe here. Make sure you subscribe to my other channel too. Fly Ether is laughing 100%. All right, next story. I think we've got 2 more stories left. Yes, 2 more. It's been a fun stream. We're kind of powering through it, right? Yeah, making good time. All right, so this was interesting. This was from James Fox, director. That is you know, and he made a comment, I think yesterday, that I had never heard before, that apparently one of the David Grusch witnesses, whistleblowers that was supposed to come forward, died by suicide. And apparently it was a young dude, 35 years old with 2 kids, right before he was to go public, which is very sad and concerning. So let's just watch the clip first, and we'll talk about it.
I got a call from somebody in the intelligence community who's calling me and calling Kirk.
See, now, if this person did die right off the bat, I want to be like, obviously prayers to them and their family. But also, when the story starts off with like, I got a call from someone in the intelligence community, there is always the possibility that this could just be a lie to like, I've seen people like use death and things like that to lie, to like activate people, to like make them feel like they're secret agents and stuff. I hope that's not the case. Well, I kind of, in a way, I hope that's the case so that the person didn't die, but it's something to be aware of in these circles. Shout out to Super Chat, Alistair. We love y'all. Thank you, sir. Let's watch it again. Sorry.
I got a call from somebody in the intelligence community who's calling me and calling Kirk, which I thought was odd, calling us both kind of almost at the same time. Right? He got a call, then I got a call. And somebody who was about a whistleblower, a potential whistleblower, was about to come forward that was connected to David Grusch, was found dead with a suicide note, 35 with 2 kids. And that was spooky. I mean, I saw that firsthand. And I was worried, actually, at the time, that Kirk wasn't going to do the interview. But he did it.
So, again, let's run back the meat and potatoes there.
Come forward that was connected. And somebody who was about a whistleblower, a potential whistleblower, was about to come forward that was connected to David Grusch, was found dead with a suicide note, 35 with 2 kids. And that was spooky. I mean, I saw that firsthand. And I was...
That is concerning if that's true.
Worried, actually, at the time, that Kirk wasn't going to do the interview. But he did it anyway. So, you know, yeah, the threats are real. The concern is real. And look, could all these things just be a mere coincidence? They could be. But somehow I doubt that. When I...
And real quick, he's about to talk about a story in Roswell back in the day, but let's kind of reminded me of this one too. Skyfire News shout out. Here's Chris Mellon kind of recounting a similar story that at first I thought were they the same one, but I think this actually might be a different case. Let's listen to this.
One of the allegations is that the U.S. recovered either an object that landed and was left undamaged or something that was crashed, maybe more than one occasion, and that the material was provided to some of our aerospace companies that build our most advanced aircraft and so forth for them to try to research and understand. And therefore, that may be a source of knowledge and information, and they may actually possess some of these materials. So they wanted to include that in the scope of this inquiry and this new legislation.
Because there is the possibility that there may be reverse engineered technology in private companies.
Right. Doesn't mean that they succeeded in reverse engineering, but one of the stories is, one of the allegations is, and I was supposed to...
All right, here we go. Listen to this. This is the part that's similar to what we just heard.
Meet a fellow, for example, who supposedly was in one of these aerospace companies and supposedly had been directly involved in that activity. And we were about 2 weeks away from meeting when he died, when he had a heart attack. And, can't say, whether that was true or not, but that's one of the allegations. And it makes sense because if you're the government and say you recovered some debris and there were complex components and materials, right? You wanted to keep it secret, but have world-class technicians and scientists try to understand it. It would be natural that you would go to Lockheed Martin.
So he's implying that the person died under mysterious circumstances. Let's shout out the super sticker from Courage First. Thank you, sir or lady, whoever you are. And let's get back to this Grusch thing. And actually, we'll play that one again, and then we'll let it ride because he's going to talk about similar cases happening related to Roswell incidents, and then he's also going to talk about something similar happening related to the Virginia case that he's been investigating, James Fox.
David Grusch was found dead, and somebody who was about a whistleblower, a potential whistleblower, was about to come forward that was connected to David Grusch, was found dead with a suicide note, 35 with 2 kids. And that was spooky. I mean, I saw that firsthand. And I was worried, actually, at the time, that Kirk wasn't going to do the interview. But he did it anyway. Yeah, the threats are real. The concern is real. And look, could all these things just be a mere coincidence? They could be, but somehow I doubt that. When I went to the 50th anniversary of the Roswell incident, which in retrospect, I mean, that was an incredible opportunity because, at the time, people that were in their 20s or 30s when it happened were in their 70s and 80s. So they were a lot of them were still around. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot.
Yeah.
And they told me, which I remember, I remember the time going, really? Like, really? But they said, not only you talk about this, and they told me this on camera, a lot of them on camera, some off camera. These are people that were there at the time, that if you talk about this, not only will they be picking your bones out of the desert, they'll be picking your family's bones out of the desert. And they were serious. These people that were telling me this were serious. So that was in 1947, you know. And I'll give you one more example. For this new cut of Moment of Contact, we got the neurosurgeon, we got the 2 forensic pathologists, but we also got the chief of police, and nobody's talking about the chief of police. We got the chief of police, Pedro Aguilar, confessing on camera for the first time in history that he participated in the event. He saw the beam, but he doesn't go into any specific details on that. And he died a couple months after we interviewed him. I went back just a few weeks ago. I met with his wife, now widow, got her on camera saying that, yeah, he told her that he saw the creature. Then we went and met all of his kids, met his 2 sons and his daughter and his lawyer. And we got the backstory. And his daughter said to me, and his son said this to me, my father was the chief of police. He packed a gun everywhere he went. He dealt with gangsters. He dealt with drug lords. He wasn't scared of anyone, but he was terrified of the men in suits. It's like, men in suits? Yeah, the men in suits that threatened him about the Virginia case. He was very scared. And his kids said that, and this is all on camera, I haven't released it yet, but his kids were like, our dad wasn't afraid of anything, you know? In fact, I can tell you, he had a standoff at one of the capture sites in the morning, which I think is the creature that Dr. Italo saw at Regional Hospital, because we know that took place in the daytime, because Dr. Italo said it was light out. The second capture by the 2 military police officers took place at sundown, right around 5:30. So, yeah, they said he was terrified of the men.
Terrified of the men in suits. Really interesting and concerning. Yeah. All right, I think we got one more. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, one more.
Very good family friend. Somebody.
All right, here's the last story. This is coming from Astral. Shout out Astral. So, Hollywood producer Brent Friedman says a Reagan-era official, John Harrington, told him aliens are real. He's seen them, and that he would cry himself to sleep every night over what he knew. This is John Harrington. Let me see here. If I'm not mistaken, John Harrington here was the director of the Department of Energy under Reagan. I almost said Rogan. So that kind of does, Department of Energy is definitely all up in the UFO mix. Let's watch this real quick. John Stewart Harrington, born May 31st, 1939, is an American Republican politician and businessman who served as the 5th United States Secretary of Energy under Ronald Reagan during his second term. So, yep. So that's that. Now, this is a Hollywood producer recounting a story that apparently he had a conversation with him. So we're just going to watch it live together for the first time.
That I looked up to was a real role model for me. I guess he was advance man for Reagan in his campaign in 1980. When Reagan got elected, he had a special appointment in the Reagan administration, and he had moved his family from the West Coast, where we both grew up, to the East Coast, and was living in a place called Langley Farms, Virginia. And he asked me and a couple friends to drive his 2 cars and his dog and some stuff they left in the garage across the country. Now, I had just graduated from high school. This was 1981. I was about to go to UCLA. We had a crazy road trip. I don't even know how we survived it. That's a whole different story. But when we got to his house, the first night that he came home from work, he arrived in a black Lincoln Town car with a whole kind of Secret Service escort and a briefcase handcuffed to his wrist. And, I had never seen him in this capacity. He was a lawyer when I was growing up, a very successful lawyer. But now he was being treated, like a high-ranking official in the government, which was both exciting and confusing to me. So cut to, we have dinner, everyone catches up. He has 2 daughters that I grew up with that were a little younger than me. And it's like a family reunion for me because I haven't seen them in years. After dinner, he wants to just catch up with me. So the 2 friends that I have, they're very interested in the 2 daughters so that they have things to do. And this person, his name is John Harrington, and I go out onto the back veranda. And, there was a couple really interesting things. When we were growing up, he was a strict Calvinist, if I remember. So, he didn't drink, he didn't swear. He was a man of high character and integrity. But he was also really fit. And when I saw him, he looked very haggard. He looked very run down, like he was carrying a lot of weight emotionally. And he also brought a bottle of Jim Beam out to the backyard and was pouring himself drinks as we were talking. And I got the sense that this was a guy that, as I said, was burdened. He whatever he was doing was weighing heavily on him. So we start to talk, we catch up, and at some point I ask him, well, what is his new job? And he quickly explains he can't really say. It's classified. He's working for the president. And I keep pushing. And eventually he says, well, to get the job, I had to be briefed. And I went and lived in an underground facility in West Virginia for a number of months. And every night, when after they would brief me, I would cry myself to sleep. Mm-hmm. And yeah. And that, that line still haunts me because this is a man that I couldn't imagine crying once, let alone every night. And, of course I said, well, why? I don't understand. What would cause you to cry yourself to sleep every night? And his response, was really startling. He said, this is not the world I thought I was bringing my daughters into. Mm. And, again, I'm sure most people listening to this are older than 18, but when you're 18 years old and you hear those type of statements, there's no frame of reference. Like this is all very kind of staggering ideas. And so I pushed back and I said, well, okay, I need to know something because I'm like a son to you, aren't I? Like, right. What is this world that I've been brought into? I need some answers. So I pushed, and eventually he hit on something interesting. He said, when you were growing up, I remember you were into science fiction and comic books and stuff. And so I can tell you one thing, aliens are real, they're here, and I've seen them.
So there you go. That's and again, that's from the Need to Know podcast of Bryce Zabel. Go check it out. Seems like a real story, but I don't know, maybe some timelines things, and we're watching it live. And yeah, guys, that's about it. I think Alien Girl, Good Morning UFO, she's going to do a stream in about an hour. Go over there, show her love. She's feeling all down and out about the whole UFO topic. And I might try and pop on over there too. So in 1 hour, go over there. But why did he cry? Yeah, I mean, told something dramatic, I guess. Great promo by Astral here for the episode tomorrow. Full episode tomorrow. Yeah. There you guys go. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in a space. Peace out. Woo.